What's up, guys? It's Dwayne from mountainbuck.com. Join me on the hunt for the best hunting products. And guys, today I'm checking out the cheapest trail camera on Amazon. I'm talking about the Aomiun trail camera right here. This thing was only $20 with free Prime shipping. Now, I've seen some other trail cameras on there for 20 bucks, but they also cost $20 to ship. And hey, $20 is $20. So free Prime shipping with this cost me 20 bucks. Pre-inflation cost, that's probably like $12 or something crazy. So crazy cheap. This thing has a 36 megapixel camera and it shoots 1080p videos. Let's check out what's inside the box. All right, so you have a user manual, you have a micro USB cable here, and a power cable. So it's interesting, that's a little different. They give you two different types of cables. Your strap for the tree. So here it is right out of the box, and you can see it has a similar design to a lot of those other cheap trail cameras on Amazon here. You got the thread mounts on the bottom if you want to mount it, the latches on the side here, and it is waterproof. Let's open this thing up. So you get a nice little 2-inch LCD screen on there, which will be good for viewing your photos and videos, along with the standard button functionality. You also have a micro SD slot down here and a spot for your micro USB port. Now this doesn't come with a micro SD card or batteries, and for 20 bucks you really can't complain about that. So it will be taking 8 batteries in here. Well, it turned on, so that's a plus. I'm noticing right away though on this LCD screen here, it says my battery life is at 20%. Now I just put in 8 fully charged rechargeable AA batteries in here, so they should be at 100%, but the screen here is telling me 20%. Let's cycle through some of these settings. So this camera takes pictures and video, which is one of my favorite features of any trail camera. Interval settings here, nighttime shot sensitivity, time lapse. Bump the photo resolution all the way up to 36 megapixels. We'll stick with the one shot. Video resolution, 1080p all the way up. We'll change the recording length to 30 seconds. Yes, we definitely want to record the audio. Audio volume is high. And of course you can set the day and time, timestamp, and format the SD card. All right, we are all set. I'm going to stick a micro SD card in here. We're going to get it outside and run some tests. All right, so I'm all set to do my trigger speed analysis, and how I do that is I set up about 10 yards in front of the camera, run right by, and see how long it takes that camera to pick me up. There's only one problem here, in that the product description online for this camera on Amazon lists 3 different trigger speed times. It lists ranges anywhere from 0.2 to 0.6 seconds, 0.3 to 0.6 seconds, and then all the way out at 0.8 seconds. So I'm not really sure what to think. I guess I'll just have to test it out for myself. Let's see how we make out. Next up is detection range. I want to see how far out this camera is going to be able to detect me. And how I do this is I have 4 different cones set up at varying distances. The first one here is at 10 yards, then 20, 25, and finally 30 yards out. What I'm going to do is walk by each cone at each distance at a nice leisurely pace and see if this camera is going to pick me up. All right, so that's it for our detection range and trigger speed test. Let's check that footage and see how we made out. Before we check the footage, I wanted to touch base on a few things. The first thing being this battery life situation. So I put in those rechargeable batteries. It showed up at 20%. I went ahead and got some generic AA batteries here. I'm going to install them fresh, and it should say 100% on here once I get these loaded up. Also, quick side note here, this little battery panel, this tab here, it's very thin and it doesn't really do a good job holding the batteries in. All right, so this is, it started out with 80%, and it just went to 85% battery life here. You can see that right on there. I should say 85%. So something's off here with the battery life and the battery indicator. So I'm not really sure what to make of that. Another thing I want to note is I wasn't able to view the photos and videos. I wasn't able to view the photos and videos like I normally do with this little memory card reader here. This is a really nice little memory card. I really like to use it. You could use it for your iPhone, your Android, slap it in your computer there or whatever. And I always use this to view the photos and videos on my phone. And I wasn't able to do so. Like all these things you can see right here, it showed the files, but when you click on them, nothing appeared, no videos, no photos or whatever. I tried this in multiple iPhones, an Android phone, and it did not work at all. I was able to get the pictures and videos once I loaded this up through the USB connection here on the computer. So let's check those out. First up is that trigger speed test, and you can see this thing barely caught me all the way at the end of that 120-degree frame right there. It's definitely looking more like a 0.8 second trigger or a little bit more. So how about that range detection? I'm curious to see how we did with that. I do have that white shirt on and a nice dark background of trees there, which creates a nice contrast. But here it is at 10 yards, catches me again at 20, 25 yards, and 30 yards out. I'm actually really surprised that this thing caught me all the way out at 30 yards, caught me every single time. I'm actually very surprised at how well this did for that. Let's check out that daytime footage. Here's the daytime image quality here, and you can see it isn't very sharp or crisp at all. This is definitely not the 36 megapixels that's listed in the product description. I'll blow up one of the images here, and yeah, you can see it's all pixelated, nowhere near the 36 megapixels they're claiming. Not very good image quality at all. How about the daytime video quality? Here you can see, again, not a 1080p video. The video here, you can see the does there doing their thing, but it isn't sharp, it isn't crisp, it isn't clear, and it's definitely not a 1080p quality video. Let's move on to the nighttime shots. This really didn't take too many nighttime photos here. I have this one, which I think that might be a fox over there. I'm really not sure. It's very hard to tell. It's very grainy. It doesn't really do a good job of producing nighttime images. And when I went ahead to check the nighttime videos, I couldn't because there were none. It did take some nighttime photos, but for whatever reason, it did not take any nighttime videos at all. Here's a look at how the infrared lights look. This camera does have some decent nighttime infrared LEDs here, but again, the image quality was pretty terrible. Next, we're going to check out the audio. So I have this video here of this turkey just eating, and in the background, you can hear those birds going pretty clearly. However, you can also hear a distorted type digital sound overlaying the entire audio track there. So there it is, guys. It's the cheapest trail camera on Amazon at just 20 bucks. And sometimes you get what you pay for. Although I will say that I'm impressed with the detection range, capturing me all the way out to 30 yards. It also shoots decent daytime photos and videos. I mean, the quality there isn't terrible, but it's definitely not 36 megapixel photos, and it's definitely not 1080p videos. You do have some pretty crummy nighttime shots, and no nighttime videos at all as far as I was able to tell. You also have that battery life indicator, which was all jacked up. I really don't even know what level or percentage my batteries were ever at with this thing. And you might not be able to see the photo files and video files on your phone through a card reader. Aside from that, it's 20 bucks. You might be able to buy a couple of them, use it on your property, and you'll definitely see the deer, turkey, whatever it is that you're after. If you are short on funds, you might just want to check this out. But keep in mind, it's buggy and might not work correctly, so just something to keep in mind. As always, the links to the items we talk about are in the description below. Guys, get yourself some killer mountain buck gear. Do me a favor, hook me up and hit subscribe. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, and we'll see you on the next one.